What up, guys? How are you guys doing? We are here. We are finally here. Sunday, NFL Sunday. I have been so excited for this day to come. We've waited months, and I'm sure you guys are just as excited as I am for this new season. We're going to go down the list. We're going to look at a few matchups that we have today. I mean, not a few, we have about 13 games going on today. So we're going to look at a lot of the early slates and answer some fantasy football questions, some start sit questions that you may have. Also, I am widely open to talking a little bit of DFS as well as I am also locking in my lineup for the day. More than happy to go down that list. I see we have a few people already on. Excited to have you guys here. Thank you guys for joining. Give me 1 second here. Let me get this all set up here. Let's go right into some DFS talk while we wait for some more people to hop on and we can get some question flowing for start sits. Today is the big Millie Maker, the NFL 3.5 fantasy football millionaire, 1 million to the top. They usually do week one is usually the $5 entry. So I know a lot of people usually like to get a lot in there. There's about, well, it's already full. So if you're trying to hop on that a little late right now, there's no room, but there are also a lot of tournaments out there that you could still jump into. But we're going to get right into it. I know I've been looking at some options here as far as some of the slate environments. If you see here at the top, we have Las Vegas and New England. We have Carolina, Jacksonville, Arizona at New Orleans, Cincinnati at Cleveland, Miami at Indianapolis. We have Pittsburgh at New Jersey, Tampa Bay at Atlanta, San Francisco at Seattle, Tennessee at Denver, Detroit at Green Bay, Houston at Los Angeles Rams. Uh, One of the things, let's get started here with some of these guys here. We have some quarterbacks, some running backs. I was messing around with a few lineups there. We have quarterbacks. So everybody usually week one are very underpriced, and you have running backs, wide receivers. You're going to get guys like Christian McCaffrey here, who we just got news that will be starting off at 7,300. That's a very low price for someone who easily becomes the top player on the slate as far as running back positions go. He's usually in the 85 to 9,500 range, and we are getting him at a discount. I know there's a lot of fear, especially given the news and the reports that we got this week. But so far, we are hearing that he is full systems go. I am sure that many people in the field, which is a lot of people, we have 832,000 people in this large pool here, are going to be fading this man. I don't blame them, but I'm interested, and I will be playing Christian McCaffrey because I know damn well that at 7,300 he can easily break the slate. We have guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, who's also fairly underpriced. Bijan Robinson is at 8,000. I think his price point is pretty fair. And given the Tampa Bay matchup, I mean, Bijan's very matchup proof, so you can play him. I think he's a very contrarian kind of player that you could play on today's slate. But Tampa Bay, they do have Vita Vea back, and that run block defense is usually typically good. I believe that Todd Bowles, who is the head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's a very defensive minded guy, usually brings a lot out to rookie quarterbacks and brings a lot of different looks, pressures, blitz. Michael Penix has only played so much last season. I expect him to still give him more looks here to make it a little bit more difficult. I think he's going to ask Michael Penix here to play more at quarterback while stopping the run game, which is something Atlanta has been really good at getting. So, with all that said, I'm not really high on him, at least for week one, when it comes to daily fantasy. Obviously, in home leagues, you play him. He is your top pick. He was probably going number one, number two overall. He is not a guy you are fading and getting cute with putting matchup based information. You are just plugging in and playing, and Bijan Robinson should get you enough. Mind you, when you play daily fantasy, you are looking for ultimate ceiling and upside. And one of the biggest things that you're looking for there, this is usually when we get a little more intrigued by other options. But I don't blame you if you like to play them. Obviously, again, it's going to make you contrarian. And to get to the top of the leaderboard in these kind of contests, you're going to need guys like that too. Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously his upside, we saw what happened when David Montgomery wasn't there. I think one would argue that in fantasy football, he could have easily been RB1 this year and not Bijan, just simply based off the way he went off in that. Other guys, I can go down this whole list, but we are not going to go down this whole list. But there are a few guys that I'm interested. I think Bucky Irving, Ashton Genty, these are guys given their price point right now. I'm not forcing. I think that to get the upside, and the upside we're looking for in these type of contests here are 30 to 35 points. I think there's still more that I want to see. Even Devon Achane. I'm not saying they can't reach it. Obviously, clearly they can. Ashton Genty is a little bit more of a question mark, clearly because this is his first game in the NFL. We've seen him in college and the things he was able to do. If this man does anything like he did at Boise State, he's going to break an entire slate. But I'm not trying to I'm not trying to have my mind too focused on that and what he did in college versus kind of looking at some options here and just simply saying, these other guys priced down, like, oh, I'll mention Brees Hall. He's a guy nobody's going to touch. I'm intrigued by in this kind of tournament. And the only reason why I'm intrigued by Brees Hall is because everybody's scared of him. People were scared of drafting him in home leagues. People were scared of drafting him, are going to be scared of drafting him in DFS, given Braylon Allen's new role and how much we were hearing about him coming out of preseason and training camp. I think Brees Hall, from what we know as far as talent goes, he is extremely talented back. And if it's been very quiet and his role is very similar to what we have known him for, he's going to break a slate, y'all. He can give you that 30 to 35 points. And at low ownership, we're talking about under 10% ownership, possibly. Not possibly. I don't even have to check. I can check in a little bit, but I can almost guarantee you he's going to be under 10% owned at 6,400. And I think he's a very interesting play. I'm going to go down the list here, and I'm going to name one more guy for you, or actually two more guys. Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, if you're seeing their price point. One's at 5,500, the other one's at 5,400. This is interesting. The new shiny toy is Travion Henderson. This is the new shiny toy. This is the guy that everybody wants to play. I don't blame y'all. He's amazing. And what he can do as a pass catcher is also amazing. But if we're really trying to sit here and think this out through, what is New England really trying to deploy week one? Well, we don't really know, and that's our jobs here to guess. This is our best opportunity to guess, and that's what we're doing. We're playing the guessing game right now. My guess is Travion Henderson will see the field today, obviously. He's also a really good pass protector as a running back, so he's going to be on the field. They're going to have him probably on third downs most times, having him out there to block. But when we're talking about workload and when we're talking about cowbell road, why aren't we talking a little bit about Ramondre Stevenson being a sneaky play for week one? Ramondre Stevenson is someone who's already played under Josh McDaniels, who is now returning as OC under Mike Vrabel in New England. Ramondre Stevenson at $100 less could be the right move here to go contrarian versus playing Travion Henderson, the shiny new toy. Again, there's 832,000 people playing this. They're probably going to click away. They're going to see cheap players that I'll talk about shortly here. And then the other guy I just want to throw out there, I'm going to throw out Krosky Merritt. Let's see if we can just get him. He is at the 4K range. I'm just going to put him. Bill Krosky Merritt is what he wants to be called. I've been bullish on this guy in terms of thinking he's going to be the running back one. We'll see how that plays out today. They are selling you on the idea that it's going to be Austin Eckler. And then they were telling you that Chris Rodriguez is also in that running back room. And then we also have Jeremy McNichols, who's another guy in there. I mean, there's a ton of guys back there, right? And they were telling you that he was RB4. Well, we just got news that Chris Rodriguez is going to be inactive for today's game, meaning that's one less person we have to worry about today. Meaning a lot of people were picking him up in the waiver wire, guillotine leagues, all these type of leagues that I'm in. And I've been seeing him get scooped up because they thought there was this solidified role. Well, at least for week 1, we already know he does not have a role on there. And I think for this price range, we're talking about minimum for running back is 4,000. If you plug him and he gives you the ultimate ceiling, the ultimate upside, you're going to crush on today's slate. Now, is ownership going to swing a little bit more here? Possibly. We'll see that as today goes. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be looking at Austin Eckler, who will give you a little more of a safety net. He's only $800 more. I see ownership really coming down to Austin Eckler. I like Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. We'll call him Bill Merritt, which is what he wants to be called. I like Bill today as a very contrarian play. I plan to play a lot of them. And then that's what I'm going to go with running back. Quarterbacks, I barely talked about, but I'll mention one name that I like at the very bottom. Guys that are cheap. I think Tua is a very intriguing play versus Indiana today. I think everybody's outlook on Miami is that they're no good, that they're not going to do anything, that they don't have a good defense, which all those things may be true. Their offensive line is not as strong, especially on paper. But I like to take the bet that Miami comes out there, hearing all that noise, comes out strong, and really makes a statement on week 1 versus Indiana and actually wins this game. I'm not taking them in Survivor, y'all. But I do believe that Miami has a really good opportunity of winning this game versus Indianapolis at Indy. And yeah, I like Tua to show out at 5,800, which is actually a pretty cheap price tag given him, and also going after some of his pass catchers. You know, you can pair him up and stack him with Devon Achane, which is an option. But wide receiver, which I want to transition to now, Tyreek Hill is 6,700. There's a lot of fear behind them. I've talked about these players like Breece Hall that everybody's just very concerned about because of the reports and news that we're getting, and rightfully so. It's fair to have that pause. But we're talking about high stakes, high opportunities, high risk, high rewards. This is what you're doing so that you can reach the top. You don't play tournaments like this and not go after players, especially a guy like Tyreek Hill, who's usually priced up over 8K. Absolutely not under 7K. I think 6,700 is way too cheap for a player like him. I plan to probably play him. I'm playing like 2 lineups today. I plan to play Tyreek Hill, probably both lineups. So I do like the stack between Tua and Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill has the capability of breaking this slate. We can keep going down this list. I like guys like Drake London, who I can argue he could be wide receiver 1 week 1. There's his opportunities that he's gotten with Michael Penix. He's gotten about 40% target share within the games that he has played with him last season. I don't expect that to stop. I believe we did get news. Let me confirm this one because this one's actually important. Yes, Darnell Mooney is inactive today. He is wide receiver 2 on this team. Given that he's inactive, man, that is great news for someone like Drake London, who is already going to get the majority of the target share. He's going to get peppered probably a lot more. Guys like Kyle Pitts, those are a little bit more of a risk that I probably wouldn't take week 1. But if you're playing home leagues, that's not a bad option to also still go with if he's your starting tight end. I think guys like that are going to play. And then you can go down the barrel here and get guys like Ray McLeod, who's also been part of that offense for a while. 3,700. I expect him to also play a role. And if you're fading Bijan Robinson, in this case, that's probably what you want to do. Get to the passing attack. And that's something I'm possibly doing. Again, in DFS, you are not sitting Bijan Robinson week 1. Please do not make that mistake, y'all. All right, let me get back here to some questions. I got some questions popping up here. Let's see. Let's pull up. I'm going to pull up the ESPN. Here, we'll start here. We got Daniel Marrero. Daniel Marrero. I can't say that last name. Jerome Ford or Aaron Jones, sit or start? Man, that's a really good question. I'm gonna lean Jerome Ford, simply because we already know Quishon Judkins. If you guys are following that news, he just signed a fully guaranteed contract, and he's not playing week 1. He's already set for inactive. He will be playing week 2 is the goal and the plan for the Cleveland Browns. But you got a rookie right behind him in Dylan Sampson, who's going to have more of that change of pace scenario role. Now, could he pop? Could he do something interesting in today's game? Possibly, but I'd rather take my shots on someone who's already been a part of this offense, especially last year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the year before too, under Kevin Stefanski. I'll take Jerome Ford here over Aaron Jones, but I do like Aaron Jones upside. 12 p.m. Central start time. I say take Jerome Ford, take the safe floor there. Jonathan Gomez mentioned Bill going to be chalked today. We'll see. I don't think so. I think again, Austin Eckler's 4,800, and that's for daily fantasy, y'all, and on DraftKings site. I think it's Austin Eckler who's going to garnish more of the ownership there. But I still think he'll get some, but enough to still make you a bit contrarian today, because people are going to be a little hesitant on taking that. We'll see how the day goes. Right now, we're an hour away from kickoff, so we'll definitely take a look at that and kind of follow news to see. Monty, Tracy, sit or start at the flex. If this is PPR, and mind you guys, if you guys can also mention if it's a 10, 12 team league or how many ever people are in the league, and if it's a PPR, half PPR. I'm going to assume this is a PPR. I would say go Tracy, especially if it's PPR. And I think that Cam Scatterboo is someone who we know that they brought in to be their pass catcher, and that's New York Giants we're talking about here. He's one of their pass catching backs. He's going to be a goal line back, I believe, too, as the season continues. He said PPR for sure, 12 team. Okay, so yeah, I would go Tyron Tracy, and mainly because of that. He was also hurt this offseason. If I'm not mistaken, it was a hamstring injury that had him out for a few weeks. And given that, I expect Tyron Tracy to get a lot of workload today, maybe about 60, anywhere from 60 to 80%. I expect for sure. I do think Scatterboo is going to be in there for some designed plays, but I think Tyron Tracy is the right play for week 1. George, hey buddy, what's up, George? Pearsall or Henderson, PPR flex, perfect. I mean, we were just talking about Henderson just a little while ago. Again, I'm intrigued by this. I really do like Travion Henderson. As far as week 1 goes, Ricky Pearsall has the clear runaway right now, with Jawan Jennings coming back. And right now their pass catchers are really thin. I think they just called up Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS, if you remember him from the Green Bay days, and the Kansas City Chiefs. He was just with the Seattle Seahawks and got cut because one of their rookies, I believe it was Torrey Horton, ended up winning that wide receiver 3 job. They are desperate need for pass catchers. I'm going to say Pearsall, and Pearsall is perfect for PPR. He is, yeah, he's really good. I'm a big Ricky Pearsall guy, and I think that today, even if he doesn't score a touchdown, he'll get you anywhere from 6 to 8 catches. I say Ricky Pearsall. All right, let me go real quick right back. In the meantime, let's go back here to the DraftKings site, and I wanted to finish off here. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, clear and evident. The guy here you're going to want to pick, upside. He's the number 1 pick in home leagues, in fantasy, in season-long home leagues. The leagues that we're currently asking questions and playing in, Jamar Chase has the upside, 40, 50. We saw that last year. But if you're going to play him, I think an interesting way to play him today in single entries, 3-entry max, or even in multi-entry pools like we're looking at right now here with the $5 entry Millie Maker. I think that playing Jamar Chase, you should be playing him with a bring back. And by that, I mean a Cleveland Brown pass catcher. Because for Jamar Chase to reach his ultimate ceiling, because I believe he's going to garnish a lot of ownership. There's a lot of cheap, mispriced player today. So even Bill Merritt, a guy that I mentioned, you don't even have to get today. There's so many cheap options because week one usually typically has a lot of mispricing. So usually players like rookies like Ted McMillan and Emeka Egbuka are going to be popular plays today given their price points. They're going to be able, players are going to be able to get guys like Jamar Chase, higher spending players to put on their roster in their construction builds. So I think Jamar Chase, the way to bring them back is to get someone for the Cleveland Browns a little bit before the noon kickoff. I'm going to be posting a video of a prop that I really, really like today. I like David Njoku over 5 receptions. I'll mention that here before I actually put out the video shortly. But David Njoku has been lights out with Joe Flacco. And one of the stats that I have here, I'm going to mention it, is when Flacco started 6 games for the Browns a couple years ago. Yes, under Kevin Stefanski, which is really cool. I still don't know why they got rid of him. They should have brought him back the year back, especially with that run that they made in the playoffs. But when Flacco started those 6 games for the Browns a couple years ago, here were David Njoku's stat lines. He had 7 catches for 93 yards. Second game, 6 catches for 134 yards. Third game, 6 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. 10 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown for the 4th game. The 5th game, 6 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then the 6th game, that final game, was a 2-catch, 17-yard game. Literally, out of those 6 games, 5 of them, he went over that 5 reception. I'm letting y'all know before I put that video, that is one of my locks for today. Getting David Njoku over 5 receptions. I think it's just too good to pass up. He is going to be targeted a ton. He's going to be a safety blanket for them. I am taking the Bengals. I'm in 2 survivor leagues. One of them, I am taking the Bengals to win today. I did it last year and it hurt me, and I was out week 1 when they played New England. We're not wishing that on them today. I think they're coming back strong. They also played in the preseason to avoid these slow starts that they've had the last couple of years. Real quick, we're going to go right back here. Wide receivers. We talked about Drake London. Jackson Smith-Njigba is 5,800. He is the number 1 wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. I love that here. Price point as well. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. that's sneaking up here at 5,500. I'm a little cautious about this. I kind of want to do a wait and see, especially with the reports that we got today of Kyler Murray being he came up on the injury report today with an illness. I'm already, if you've seen my videos before, I'm already hesitant when it comes to Kyler Murray. So I'm not taking too much of a risk there. If I had to play one of the pass catchers there, it's probably Trey McBride. They're playing the New Orleans Saints. If you're playing survivor leagues, y'all, I think this is a trap game. I have walked away from this game. I'm a little nervous about this game, especially with that report that we just got. Arizona is the favorite to win it. New Orleans, Brandon Staley just got brought in, defensive coordinator under Kellen Moore, who is now the head coach. And if you guys remember him, he was the OC for the Philadelphia Eagles who won the Super Bowl. He brought in Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley is a Vic Fangio disciple. And if you've seen one of my previous videos before, I talked about a lot of what Vic Fangio likes to do on defense, and that's to kind of bring everything in front. I think that this gives a big opportunity. They try to take away the explosive plays. This is a big, big moment. And I think for Trey McBride, who we already know gets peppered a ton. He had many games last year where he was getting more than 10 plus targets. I expect him to be the safety blanket for Kyler Murray today as they try to take away a lot for him. So yeah, usually a defense like that is kind of Kyler Murray's like kryptonite. Like that's not something he's really good playing versus. So Marvin Harrison is someone I went too far along with that, but he's not someone I'm too interested in. I do like James Conner at running back. We didn't get to talk about that, but I think he's interesting for today as far as offense on that team. We keep scrolling down. We got J-Mo. Deebo Samuel's really sneaky. I think that him being brought over to Washington at 5,200 brings a lot to like. He is also one of these players that has a very low floor, which is scary. But again, when you're playing these kind of tournaments, you are aiming for the upside. And in this kind of matchup, this is something I would like to see Debo Samuel start getting involved. I think that Cliff Kingsbury, the OC for the Washington Commanders, was looking for a player like Debo that can open up things a lot more for his offense. Tent McMillan is going to be a guy who's going to be highly owned, 5,200, number one option. Jalen Coker's out. They don't have a lot of options at wide receiver right now. And they are pretty thin in that room with guys like Xavier Legette, who's also an interesting option, and Hunter Renfro. Ted McMillan is going to be someone everyone's going to be in on. He's probably going to be a guy later on this season we're going to see over the 6,000 mark. I think he's an interesting play for sure. Definitely one of the higher owned players. Chris Olave sneaking down here at 5,100. I think he's interesting. Obviously, we're hoping, with his concussion, and the injury risk obviously with him is big. But when he's on the field, he's a great player. He's a really good wide receiver. Obviously, he just needs to stay healthy on the field. But I do like Chris Olave. I think he's got tremendous upside. Calvin Ridley is another guy, but I just wanted to bring up Emeka Egbuka, who's going to be a very popular play today at 4,600. And here's the reason why. It's not just the news that we're getting about how good he's been in the preseason. That obviously plays a big role. But we're hearing today that Chris Godwin's going to be out until week 5. So we have Mike Evans in that room. Also, Jalen McMillan, who you saw a lot of last year, is also on the IR. So their wide receiver room is really, really thin. They are really down to those two main pass catchers and K-Dot at tight end. Emeka Egbuka at 4,600 seems like a steal. He is a rookie, so there is still something to be cautious about. But I think that he's one of those rookies that are coming into the league out of Ohio State that has a lot of NFL pro-ready capabilities, where I just think that he's just going to get on the field right away and start looking good in his role, which matches very close to what we have been hearing. And final thought here, we're going to go tight end. Tight end position, you're going to have so much to pay up here. So most people are going to probably go cheaper just because they're going to try to pay up at other position. But I think tight end position is very important because this is where you obviously have one single position you can fill in a construction build. So you have a quarterback clearly, but you have 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs. Tight end is the one where everybody usually punts and gets a little different with. I don't think it's a bad idea depending on how your build is, but it also isn't a bad idea to go after guys like Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, and then I think George Kittle becomes a very interesting sneaky play. And then I've already mentioned David Njoku at 4,700 if you need to go a little lower price point. All right, y'all. Let me take a look here. What else do we have? All right. That is it for as far as questions. I want to keep doing this. Next Sunday, I want to jump on. More than happy to talk a little bit more. Start sit questions. Please pass this along to others. I would love for that. Make sure to like my video and also subscribe to the page. I'm also on social media, TikTok, Instagram. You'll find me there. All right, we got one more question here before we head out and start working on some lineups. We have wide receiver 3 and flex. So this is a 3-man wide receiver league and PPR. Obviously, yes, with a 3 wide receiver, Keon Coleman or Michael Pittman. Wide receiver 3 and flex. Apologies. All right, Keon Coleman or Michael Pittman, Jerome Ford or Tucker Kraft. I'm going to say for the Keon Coleman or Michael Pittman, I'm a big Coleman fan, but I think this is perfect for Michael Pittman. We'll see if Daniel Jones leans in on him more, but he's got a clear role there. I think when we look at the Buffalo Bills, they spread the ball a little more, but I would not be shocked if Keon Coleman has a monster game. I think he's just perfect for week 1 to kind of wait and see. Michael Pittman seems like the right play there, especially in PPR formats. Jerome Ford or Tucker Kraft. I love Tucker Kraft today, but if you're putting a flex position, I would much rather the running back who also has pass catching opportunities. All right, we got a few more questions here. I can hold on for a little longer. Any sneaky defensive special teams? Okay, for DraftKings. You want to sneaky off the board if you're in a big, large tournament, go New Orleans Saints, y'all. With everything I just gave you about Kyler Murray, they're cheap. That might be the route you want to go. You don't need much from your defense. Obviously, I think that's one position that people over. I think they just galaxy brain that position when they're looking in on daily fantasy parts. You know, they always go after the chalk play, but you can be contrarian, you could be different. New Orleans Saints is my call there. We have one more question here. My boy Luke. What's up, Luke? What up, Felix? PPR, Montgomery, or Dobbins? I'm already playing Knicks and Sutton, and I need a home run play. This is my offer keeper team, you know. Oh, all right. PPR. I will say Knicks and Sutton. So you don't want to. Okay, I was starting to lean Dobbins. I don't know if you want that much of the offense, and then we might be able to see RJ Harvey kind of get a role there. All right, let's lean Montgomery here. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a big role this year for sure, and he's going to be moving out wide as well as the information we've been getting off the preseason and training camp. I think Montgomery's a good option here. He's still the goal line back, and I still think he's still good for a touchdown or even two. And then one more, guys. I appreciate y'all hopping on. Give me a 4-game parlay anytime TD lock. I got Gibbs and Cook so far. Man, you're really putting me on the spot here. I don't like anytime touchdowns. That's the one prop I don't like. Those are so hard to to take shots on. I would say Jamar Chase is good for a touchdown today, and why not Christian McCaffrey, who we heard is coming back. So there you go. Add your boy Gibbs and Cooks along with Jamar Chase and Christian McCaffrey. Jesse, another question: 2 wide receiver league flex spot, J.K. Dobbins or Josh Downs? If this is a PPR, absolutely Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs is the right move here. If it's a half PPR, touchdown dependent more, J.K. Dobbins. And then Raul Negron, favorite stack. I'm assuming this is for daily fantasy. I'm not really going to be stacking much today. I think that's one way to be contrarian today. I think everybody's going to go after the stack. But if I had to stack one player, I think I'm going to go the Joe Flacco, David Njoku route, given their price point. Joe Flacco is like about 4,800, and then David Njoku is right around that same price range. So getting both player, I believe that what is at 9,600. If they're both at 4,800, that's a very cheap stack that can easily produce anywhere from like 40 to 50, even more than that, depending on how much. I expect Joe Flacco to throw the football. Again, I got Cincinnati Bengals winning that game, but I expect Joe Flacco to have to drop back and throw the football a ton. So for daily fantasy, I think that's my favorite stack today. John, Njoku anytime TD. Yeah, well, that's what we're hoping for, especially if we're going to be playing him today. Thank you guys so much once again for hopping on. I appreciate y'all so much. I'm looking forward to throwing more content out there this week. I will keep you guys posted. I will be throwing week 2 previews and also some waiver wire players to keep an eye out for before we have to put those claims in on Wednesday. Thank you guys once again for hopping on. Appreciate y'all. Have a great day and go get a win.